Welcome to Embark Exploration Company's Dreaming of Tanzania webinar. I'm so happy to see you here today. We are going to chat just a little bit about Tanzania. It is an epic safari destination with some of my favorite places. So let's get started. First, Embark is an adventure travel company that provides once-in-a-lifetime adventure tours. We actually started in Tanzania. Our founders, Donovan and Carrie, started their trekking company with Mount Kilimanjaro climbs. So Tanzania is near and dear to all of our hearts here at Embark. I'm Julia Nesbitt. I'm a safari specialist. I've been selling safaris for over 20 years. I grew up traveling to Africa. My parents are both from Southern Africa. So, like Donovan and Carrie, I have very strong roots on the continent, and I am there frequently to check out camps, check out locations, make sure that everything is running smoothly, and we are very careful and very ethical in the way that we provide all of our trips all over the world. So that's another thing that I always look out for when I am there on the ground. Let's talk about Tanzania. So, Africa, as you know, it's a massive continent, 54 countries, thousands of languages, tens of hundreds of different cultures, different foods, different music. So, Tanzania is considered to be Eastern Africa. It's the home of Mount Kilimanjaro, where we started. It's known as the rooftop of Africa. The country itself has about 70 million people. Main languages are Swahili and English. You will find most of the indigenous people speak Swahili, English, as well as one, two, three, or more of the local languages. There's 22 national parks, including the largest wildlife national park in Africa, which we'll talk about. It is home to the Serengeti, great wildebeest migration, and in addition to all of that, you also have the beach. Also includes Zanzibar, which is a whole archipelago of a variety of islands. It's a nice map to just take a look at. The dark green spots are the national parks. So you can see that a lot of this country is, in fact, conservation focused wildlife parks. With that, and because it's such a big country, you get a huge range of activities, destinations, places, ecosystems to experience. So not only do you get the Great Migration up in the north, you can do chimp trekking and fishing, make your own sushi in the west in Mahale Mountains. Then you can go down to Nairiri National Park, which is the largest park in Africa. And then you can go end your trip snorkeling with the whale sharks and Mafia. Go to Pemba Island, sleep in an underwater room. There's so much to see. We're going to start with the Great Migration. This is what everybody sees on the BBC. This is what we see on Animal Planet. And number one thing that people ask me about Tanzania is, of course, the Great Migration. So most of the migratory animals are wildebeest. You can see them here. They're kind of funny looking things. We call them gnu's as well for the sound that they make. They are independently not the most exciting creature, but when you see tens of thousands of them in one place, all heading one direction, it is absolutely one of the wonders of the natural world. So on the map, you can see the Great Migration herds travel in a clockwise, sort of oval shape throughout the year. So no matter what time of year you go, you can see the Great Migration. It's my job to help you figure out where you're going. So January, calving season, this little guy here at the bottom, is a great time, January, February. And then, of course, river crossing season, which is crocodiles waiting at the bottom, lions waiting at the top, lots of wildlife drama, amazing photography. That is typically August, September, October. You can see as well that Kenya is just on the other side. The Serengeti Masai Mara ecosystem is all one ecosystem, but the vast majority of that ecosystem is actually on the Tanzanian side. Most other animals, aside from wildebeest and a couple of zebra, don't migrate. So the cheetahs, the leopards, they have their own home habitats, lions, territories, huge herds of elephants, giraffes, what we call general game. they don't go anywhere, not far. So you can see all of those animals at any time all over the Serengeti. So even if you're not there for the Great Migration, you want to stay away from the crowds. Um, no matter where you go, any corner of the park, you're going to have phenomenal wildlife viewing any time of year. And of course, hot air ballooning. This is such an iconic piece of an East African safari. So the word safari in Swahili actually means journey to journey. And I just love this particular picture because you have the road, you have the wildlife, and you have the hot air balloons, three different journeys happening all at once. Beyond the Serengeti, there are a number of other parks in that northern sector, which are easy to connect. This is the Ngorongoro crater. So the whole crater is a collapsed caldera. So it once was a volcano like this, and then it collapsed. And now it is in and of itself a World Heritage Site. There is a little bit of everything down there. With the exception, you can see these really steep sides. No giraffes, because they can't get up and down. Um, so otherwise, it is one of the best places in Tanzania to see rhino. They have both white rhino, pictured here, and also black rhino down there. You can see the flamingos in the background. The crater is like a little microcosm of the rest of Tanzania. You have a lake, you have a forest, you have the Serengeti plains, these big plains. So because of that, you have a healthy population of happy wildlife, and there's a little bit of everything for everybody. Ngorongoro Crater is also one of a few craters in the area. It's by far the biggest, but there's some great hiking around Olmoti Crater. You can go see the elephant caves where the elephants dig out the minerals with their tusks right out of the side of the road. Actually, like there's the dirt. It's such a cool experience, and you really get a feel for kind of the Africa as a whole, all held in this little tiny area. Beyond that, Tarangire is, I think, a highly underrated park. It's only about 3 hours from Arusha, Kilimanjaro Airport. It's only about 4 hours from the Ngorongoro Crater. And for me, it's a do not miss. You get these spectacular, huge baobab trees, known as upside down trees, because it looks like their branches are should be their roots. Um, Incredible elephants, in particular at the end of the dry season, because there's permanent water in this lily swamp. So you could get 100, 200 strong herds of elephants. Tree climbing lions is kind of a specialty. Obviously, we can't film the lions and say, can you please climb this tree? But it is one of the places where, over many generations, lions have shown this behavior to climb a tree. Um, Giraffes, hippos, there's a beautiful lake, as well as the swamp on one end, and then there's also rivers that run through. So for me, Tarangire, especially in the dry season, do not miss it. Then let's think about something that maybe you don't think about Africa, or maybe it's just crossed your mind as you're doing a little research. This is Mahale National Park. We are on Lake Tanganyika, right on the very, very western edge, and it feels like a whole new world. Feels a little Lost World, sort of Jurassic Park like. It's very thick, beautiful jungle. It's this white sandy beach. You can't actually see the other side of the lake. So even though it is freshwater, it does quite feel like a beach destination. Um, and this is where Japanese researchers have been studying the chimpanzees since the 70s. So some of our guides even have grown up with their fathers assisting the research scientists. And so they know these chimps by name, their entire family lineage. They are extremely well habituated. So we do chimp trekking here into the forest. Once you get in and you see the chimps, you have an hour with them, but you follow them as they go. If they're eating and moving through, you go with them. They are very used to humans. They are not tame by any means. These are still wild animals, but it is a truly breathtaking primate experience that you can have in Tanzania that I think a lot of people sort of miss out on this. Then down in the south, are some more of these really, really remote parks that, again, people just don't see. So, once again, we have the baobabs. The two parks I'm going to talk about next. This is old school, true wild safari. Get out of the vehicle, get on foot, do some walking. Some places you can do boating, some places you can do sleep outs under the stars. It's an incredible, incredible experience. And these visitors see fewer guests per year than the Serengeti sees in 1 week. So, 1 week in the Serengeti, more people than a whole year in Ruaha and Nairiri. So this is Ruaha National Park. It is the second largest park in Tanzania. You fly in and you just see once again these baobabs, and there's a huge riverbed. Because there's so few people, you can do a lot of different activities. The wildlife is fantastic. Especially here, you'll find some really big herds of lions. Not as many leopards, not as many cheetah because the bush is a little bit thicker. Um, Again, always lots of elephants. But it's a really special place and it feels very much like you were at the end of the earth, which is, for me, part of the safari experience. And then I want to talk about this is the Selous. It is no longer called the Selous. As of a couple years ago, it is now Nairiri National Park. But this is not only the biggest park in Tanzania, but the biggest national park focused on wildlife in all of Africa. It is massive. Um, there's still only a handful of camps here. So even if you're staying in the quote unquote busier area, it is most likely that you will never see another vehicle. Um, because of that, there's also, again, lots to do. And it's not nearly as heavily regulated as they have to be in, say, the Serengeti, where there's just more people. So, boating in particular here is fantastic. There are massive crocodiles and incredible sandbanks, just a beautiful spot. Fishing is very popular, catch and release. It's also one of the great strongholds of wild dogs. So it has a nice wild dog population. They are one of the most endangered predators in Africa, and they roam. These guys can cover incredible amounts of territory in 1 day. So something like Nairiri, where there's lots of space and very few people, is perfect for them. There's a hot spring. If you're very quiet and you go early in the morning, you can sometimes see the baboons also sitting in the hot spring. They love that. Um, and we'll also talk a little bit about sleep outs here in particular. And once again, walking. Walking in the Selous is fantastic because you can see from this picture, you have the sand flats, you have the jungly, sort of more foresty area. In other parts, you can sort of see in the background, you have more plains area. So you can see a lot of different things and have a lot of different experiences in just a couple of days in this particular park. So this is one of the things that's really special about the southern part of Tanzania. There are other places in Africa where you can do sleep outs like this, but I find because Ruaha and the Selous are so, so quiet, there's just so few people, this is one of the best places. You'll come back from game drive, your guide will have set up sundowner drinks. You'll have dinner up here. Underneath this little thatched spot is a bathroom, so you don't have to go anywhere. Your guide will be close by with a radio, but the animals, they know. They don't come up here. They're not interested in us, but we can close our mosquito nets, turn off our paraffin lamps, and see incredible, incredible African stars. This is, for me, one of the best experiences on safari, and I will sleep outside any chance I get. Highly recommend. Moving away from the mainland, I want to just touch on Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a completely different world for so many reasons. Obviously, the mainland safari, Big Five, it's a heavily Christian nation, much more westernized. Zanzibar is predominantly Muslim, and in Stone Town, which is a historic World Heritage Site as well, you can hear the call to prayer. The food is phenomenal. You can go and visit spice farms. It's known as the Spice Island, and it was a stopping point for the spice trade coming from India and further east on the way up to Europe for centuries. Now it's mostly about the beach, beautiful beaches. There is also a site for one of the best whale shark diving. You can do it scuba or you can do it snorkeling on one of the smaller islands called Mafia. Best time for that is August, September. And it's absolutely incredible. Beautiful Indian Ocean, warm water. There's also a incredible private marine reserve on another island, Pemba, which I'll show you a photo of shortly here, with another very cool out of the box kind of overnight experience. So let's talk about where are we going to sleep? Always, are there bathrooms? Yes. I can promise you there's attached bathrooms. You don't have to go out into the bush in the middle of the night. Flush toilets, hot water for showers, comfy beds, great food. Everything is very much a glamping type of experience. So these are a couple of examples of camps in the Serengeti, super luxury tented camps, Singida Sabora and the Grumeti, and then one of my favorite classic tented camps, Serengeti Bliss. I stayed here most recently in November last year, and it is just the most lovely place. The staff are fantastic. The food is great. The tents are spacious. And it's a very, I'd say like a 4-star price point. Absolutely fabulous. Loved it. Zanzibar, there's a whole range of things. I love Kalindi. It's on the north end of the island. It was, weirdly enough, built by one of the guys from ABBA, the pop group. And it's very kooky and weird and lovely. And then Pongwe Beach Lodge is on the southern end of the island, and they just have an amazing beach at that spot. And you can see the beautiful Zanzibari wooden doors and furniture here. It's classic, classic for the islands. We talked a little bit about sleeping under the stars. So besides the star beds, there's also fly camping. Think about camping. It's not quite glamping, but it's not quite roughing it either. So usually we walk into our fly camps, but you can drive in if you prefer. So you get in, there'll be a fire going, the chef will be there, dinner will be set up, and then you'll have these little cubes of mosquito netting with comfortable mats, blankets, pillows, everything you need. There's a little wash basin outside. There is a little outdoor toilet and even a bucket shower. If you really need a shower, we can do that for you. And you stay the whole night here. So you have dinner, you swap stories around the fire, you really get to settle in, go to bed, and hear everything that's happening around you. Hippos are definitely the loudest. They will love to chit chat to each other and keep you up all night. But there's also hyenas are a fantastic sound, lions are a wonderful sound to hear. There's some really interesting birds and frogs. I always think I'm going to have a hard time sleeping because there's so much to listen to, but it's always some of the best night's sleep. Again, this isn't something that you can do in a lot of places. This is really these remote areas. And then the underwater room. So this was recently totally rebuilt. It is in a marine preserve off of Pemba Island, which is part of the Zanzibar archipelago. It's a little bit of a trek, but it has an incredible opportunity if you stay for a couple of nights to spend one night here. It floats in the middle of the lagoon. There's a dock with a little lounge upstairs. They'll bring you by boat after dinner, and then you sleep down here. There is a bathroom as well. And then wake up. There are lights outside as well if you want to turn on the lights and see who's swimming by in the middle of the night. You can also do that. A couple things to keep in mind when we're talking about Tanzania, seasonality is important. They have a long rainy season and a short rainy season, and it kind of depends on what you want to do. I will say, even in the long rainy season, there are some amazing experiences to be had. So don't let a little bit of rain put you off. There's incredible things all year round. I do recommend plan your itinerary before you book your flights because there's three airports and we want to make sure that you are in the best one and the right one. Easy visa to get on arrival. You don't need any vaccines. There are light aircraft flights. We can also do private charter flights. We can also do helicopters. Um, Hot air ballooning. We talked about, and I showed you the hot air balloon photo in the Serengeti. But if you remember those big baobabs and the huge herds of elephants in Tarangire, highly underrated hot air ballooning spot. And then you can go and pop over to the beach. You can get in touch with me by phone, by email. I would love to hear wherever you are at. If you want to say, hey, I want to go to Tanzania, I don't know when or where, or how many people or anything, great, send me an email and let's talk about it. This is absolutely one of my favorite places in Africa, and there's so much diversity. So any kind of traveler that you are, traveling with little kids, traveling with multi-generations, honeymoons, somebody looking for something really active and rugged and sleeping outside every night, whatever it is, we can absolutely make it happen. Thanks so much.
Okay, perfect.